Thanks for staying with us. You're watching WION World is One. I'm Adya Janeja and this is Speed News. Let's start with all the stories making headlines today. PM Narendra Modi to begin 5-nation tour from May 15th, visiting UAE, Sweden, Netherlands, Norway and Italy. In UAE, he will discuss energy cooperation and trade with President Al Nahyan. He will also attend India-Nordic Summit in Norway. Wall Street Journal reports citing sources that UAE carried out attacks on Iran early last month, revealing previously unknown participation in the war by the Gulf country. The strikes allegedly targeted a refinery on Iran's Lebanon island. US President Donald Trump is all set to visit China this week for talks with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. Preparations are in full swing for the high-stakes visit, with US Air Force C-17 aircraft already arriving in Beijing. Addressing the media, Trump on Monday said he will speak to Xi about the future of US arms sales to Taiwan, which is a long source of friction between the two countries. In December, Trump announced the largest ever US weapons package for the island, more than $11 billion. However, in the briefing, the US president appeared to downplay the prospects of China trying to seize the self-governing democracy. US President Donald Trump says that the Iran ceasefire is now on life support. Well, this comes after he rejected Iran's latest counteroffer in high-stakes negotiations to end the war permanently. Speaking to reporters at the White House, the American president claimed he has the best plan ever to end the war, but did not say what it was. Trump used dramatic language to describe the state of the truce, while Trump claimed that Iranian leaders changed their mind when the parties appeared to reach points of agreements. He accused Iran of going back on an agreement to allow the US to remove its supply of enriched uranium. Iranian parliamentary speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf said Tehran and its armed forces are prepared for any eventuality. In a post on X, Ghalibaf warned, and I quote here, "Bad strategy and bad decisions always lead to bad results." Iran's foreign ministry defended its 14-point counter-proposal as reasonable and generous. While the proposal reportedly includes recognition of sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz, an end to the US naval blockade, and a halt to fighting across the region, including Lebanon. Tehran is also demanding the release of frozen Iranian assets held abroad. Lebanon's president has urged the US to put pressure on Israel to cease fire and stop home demolitions in South Lebanon. Lebanon's health ministry said 74 people had been killed by Israeli strikes in the last 3 days, despite a truce announced last month in fighting between Iran-backed Lebanese group Hezbollah and the Israeli military. The Hezbollah-Israel conflict reignited on March 2nd when the group opened fire at Israel in support of Tehran. The US government announced sanctions against 3 people and 9 companies. Well, these include 4 based in Hong Kong and 4 in the United Arab Emirates for aiding Iran's shipment of oil to China. The 9th company is based in Oman. In Britain, calls are mounting for Prime Minister Keir Starmer to quit after his ruling Labour Party was crushed in local and regional elections. Starmer has pledged to prove his doubters wrong, but reports suggest he has been told by senior cabinet ministers to consider setting out a timeline for his departure. At least 70 lawmakers from his own party have called for him to go. But other reports, including one by The Times, suggest the number could be as high as 80. Under party rules, any challenger would need the support of 81 Labour members of Parliament, around 20% of the party's MPs, to trigger a leadership contest. According to British media, Foreign Minister Yet Cooper and Justice Minister Shabana Mahmood have told Starmer he should oversee an orderly transition of power. Well, among those who have called on Starmer to quit are 4 government aides who have already resigned. Venezuela's acting president Delcy Rodriguez told journalists that her country had no plans to become the 51st US state after President Donald Trump said he was seriously considering the move. While speaking to Fox News earlier on Monday, Trump said he was seriously considering making Venezuela the 51st US state, according to a post by Fox News' co-anchor John Roberts on social media. Well, the White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the matter. Six people were found dead inside a train boxcar near the Texas-Mexico border, with early findings from a cross-agency investigation pointing to extreme heat as a possible cause. Well, this comes after a worker from Union Pacific opened a shipping container at a remote rail yard and discovered the 6 bodies on Sunday. Officers and firefighters then reached the scene and confirmed all 6 individuals, 5 men and 1 woman, who had died. Ukraine's capital Kiev has come under a drone attack as the 3-day truce with Russia expires. Ukrainian authorities have alerted residents to rush to safe spaces as sirens blare in the capital. This comes after Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Russia of not wanting to end the war, as Moscow continued its offensive along the front lines despite a 3-day truce agreed between the two sides. In a video address, Zelensky said that Kiev is preparing for more attacks as Moscow continued its combat actions during the truce. Zelensky also said his top negotiator Rustem Umerov had reported to him on recent political and technological meetings in the US. The International Criminal Court has unsealed an arrest warrant for Philippine Senator Ronald De La Rosa, accusing him of crimes against humanity related to his role as the chief enforcer of former President Rodrigo Duterte's war on drugs. On Monday, De La Rosa locked himself in his Senate office after a brief standoff with National Bureau of Investigation agents. Senate allies have placed him under protective custody to prevent his immediate arrest. Duterte was already arrested in March 2025. He is currently in The Hague, where he faces confirmed charges of murder as a crime against humanity. Brazilian activist Thiago Avila arrived in Sao Paulo after being deported from Israel. He was detained together with another activist for just over a week for leading an aid flotilla attempting to break the Israeli naval blockade of the Gaza Strip. A new wave of gang violence in Haiti's capital forced hundreds of people to flee their homes over the weekend. People fled with whatever they could carry as the battle of gunfire echoed in the background. The clashes between gangs erupted over the weekend across several northern neighborhoods in the country's capital, Port-au-Prince. Dozens of roadblocks marked a national strike in Bolivia, with protesters demanding the resignation of President Rodrigo Paz and the Bolivian government calling for dialogue. The government said there were 38 blockade points across the country at midday. The country's main union, the Bolivian Workers' Central, called a national strike on May 2nd to demand a salary increase and improved fuel supplies. In Assam, 4 ministers, including 2 from BJP allies, AGP and BPF, will take oath as ministers in the new NDA government along with CM-designate Himanta Biswa Sarma on May 12th. Sarma, in a post on X, also said that former Minister Ranjit Kumar Das will be the alliance's candidate for the Assam Assembly Speaker's position. Brazilian President Lula da Silva signed into law a bill establishing a day to honor the victims of the COVID-19 pandemic. The virus claimed more than 700,000 lives in Brazil, second only to the United States. Russian President Vladimir Putin drove an Oros car up to the Arbut Hotel in central Moscow, where he met with his childhood school teacher, according to the Kremlin. Russian news agencies quote Putin's spokesman Dmitry Peskov as saying that Putin met a Russian citizen from Sochi while in the hotel's lobby, and that he later brought the teacher over to his residence for dinner. Dozens of Palestinian Brids gathered in Gaza City for a massive communal wedding celebration organized by the Turkish Humanitarian Relief Foundation. The event transformed the landscape into a sea of white as couples came together to start their lives amid ongoing regional challenges. The mass ceremony held on May 11th aims to ease the financial burden on young families as thousands of well-wishers looked on to celebrate the new beginnings. A pair of South Florida wildfires that torched thousands of acres in the Everglades over the weekend spread as fire crews worked to contain them. The Florida Forest Service posted on Facebook that the growing fires were producing smoky conditions with reduced visibility, but containment operations were increasing. No serious injuries or property damage has been reported so far. OpenAI has announced a new company with more than $4 billion in initial investment to help organizations build and deploy artificial intelligence systems. The new business, called OpenAI Deployment Company, will also acquire AI consulting firm Tomorrow to quickly scale operations. OpenAI said the unit will embed AI engineers directly inside organizations to identify where AI can have the biggest impact. The acquisition of Tomorrow will add around 150 AI engineers and deployment specialists to the new company. The head of the Bank of England's regulatory arm has warned that advanced AI models such as Anthropic's Mythos and ChatGPT 5.5 Instant could cause significant disruption to financial services. Prudential Regulation Authority Chief Sam Wood said the new AI systems are becoming increasingly capable of identifying cybersecurity vulnerabilities in banking systems. He said banks would need to improve basic cyber hygiene and respond more quickly to security threats as AI-driven defenses become more important. Woods added that patching system weaknesses remains one of the main causes of outages in the financial sector. British pop star Dua Lipa has filed a lawsuit against Samsung Electronics, accusing the company of using her image without permission to market its television sets. The case, filed in a California court, seeks at least $15 million in damages. Dua Lipa claimed a copyrighted photo of her was printed on TV boxes, creating the impression that she endorsed the product. Samsung denied intentional misuse, saying a third-party content partner had assured the company that all necessary rights were cleared. Oil prices edged higher as fragile US-Iran negotiations have kept fears alive over disruptions in global energy supplies. Brent traded above $104 a barrel, while crude remained near $98 amid uncertainty over the Strait of Hormuz, a key global oil route handling nearly a fifth of world energy flows. US President Donald Trump said the ceasefire with Iran was on life support, pointing to major disagreements between both the sides. Analysts warn oil prices could remain above $100 unless a breakthrough is reached, while any fresh escalations in West Asia may trigger another sharp spike in global energy markets. Well, speaking of global energy markets, Asian markets opened higher in early Asian trade despite fresh concerns over the fragile US-Iran ceasefire after President Donald Trump warned the truce was on massive life support. Japan's Nikkei and South Korea's Kospi both advanced, with the Kospi extending gains after hitting a record high a day earlier. Hong Kong futures also pointed to a stronger open while Australian markets traded flat. Investors largely brushed aside geopolitical tensions, rising oil prices and inflation worries, continuing a trend of buying market dips amid strong confidence in global equities. US markets also ended higher overnight, with the S&P 500 and Nasdaq closing at fresh record highs, which is supported by gains in major technology stocks. Gold prices moved higher as investors closely tracked US-China talks and rising tensions in West Asia. Spot gold climbed nearly 0.5%, while US gold futures also gained ahead of key US inflation data later in the day. Markets remained cautious after President Donald Trump said the ceasefire with Iran was on life support, which I've already said, which is raising concerns over prolonged instability in the region. Investors are also watching Trump's visit to China, where discussions with President Xi Jinping are expected to cover trade, geopolitics and the conflict in West Asia. Analysts say uncertainty over global growth, oil prices and interest rates is continuing to support safe haven demand for gold. World Cup debutant Curaçao have parted company with head coach Fred Rutten just 1 month before the tournament kicks off. Curaçao are the smallest nation by population ever to compete at the World Cup. They appointed Rutten in February for predecessor Dick Advocaat stepped down for personal reasons. However, a statement from Curaçao Football Federation said Rutten had resigned following constructive discussions among federation leaders. Iran's Soccer Federation said Iran wants team members who served in the Revolutionary Guards to be allowed visas for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. In a video posted on Mehr News Agency's Telegram channel, President of the Football Federation, Islamic Republic of Iran, said they presented 10 conditions to FIFA if the country was to join. They included guarantees over visas, security and treatment of Iranian players and officials. He added that Iran wanted all players and technical staff, especially those who served their military service in the Islamic Revolutionary Guards, to be granted visas. All eyes are on the French Riviera as the 79th Cannes Film Festival officially begins. For the next 12 days, the world's biggest filmmakers, stars and studios will take over the croisette with red carpets, big premieres and Oscar buzz. This year's lineup features new films from Pedro Almodovar and Hirokazu Koreeda and more. American director Ira Sachs is also in competition with his movie The Man I Love, starring Rami Malek. South Korean filmmaker Park Chan-wook is heading the jury this year, with Demi Moore, Chloe Zhao among the jury members. Honorary Palme d'Or awards will also be presented to Peter Jackson and Barbara Streisand during the festival. Ahead of the grand opening, members of this year's Cannes jury arrived at the Martinez Hotel in style. Demi Moore and Chloe Zhao were spotted greeting fans and posing for cameras alongside jury president Park Chan-wook. The festival is expected to see a strong mix of art house cinema and star power this year, with big names like Scarlett Johansson, Javier Bardem and John Travolta, who are also expected to attend. Beatles fans have something special to look forward to. Apple Corps Limited, the company founded by the Beatles, has announced a new 7th-floor immersive Beatles experience in London set to open in the year 2027. The attraction will be located at the band's iconic Savile Row headquarters, where the Let It Be album was recorded and where the legendary rooftop performance took place. Fans will get access to the rooftop, recording studios and never-before-seen archives celebrating the band's legacy. Indian singer and actor Diljit Dosanjh has issued a strong message after videos from his Calgary concert went viral online. During his Aura tour performance, Dosanjh briefly stopped the show after some audience members were seen waving flags linked to pro-Khalistan sentiments. The singer asked security to handle the situation and later urged people not to target his fans or spread fake narratives online. He also said that protests outside events may be a form of expression, but disturbing fans inside the venue would not be tolerated. Eurovision fever has taken over Vienna as contestants participate for their big night. This year marks the 70th edition of the Eurovision Song Contest, with Austria hosting the event after JJ's win last year with the track Wasted Love. The first semi-final begins this week at the Wiener Stadthalle, where 35 countries will compete. With millions expected to tune in worldwide, participants say the pressure is huge, but so is the excitement of performing on one of music's biggest global stages. King Charles and Queen Camilla marked the 50th anniversary of the King's Trust at London's Royal Albert Hall. The event brought together several celebrities including George and Amal Clooney, Idris Elba, Benedict Cumberbatch, Rita Ora and Lily Collins. The evening celebrated the charity's impact over 5 decades, supporting young people across the UK through education, training and career opportunities.